Hi, Joe Paperny here from LaunchBoom. And over the last few years, we have consistently executed 6 and 7 figure physical product launches for our e-commerce clients. And in this training, I'm excited to share with you our exact blueprint and framework we've used to generate over $60 million in revenue from product launches alone. In this training, you're going to learn our e-commerce product launch system. You're going to learn the proven system for launching e-commerce products, raising millions, and scaling your brand, and how to immediately turn your product launch into a profitable e-commerce business. Again, my name is Joe Paperny from LaunchBoom. Over here, you'll see a couple of examples of the many product launches we've done. The top one, you've seen we've executed a product launch that generated 1.3 million. On day one, we did over 68,000. And then here's another example of a product launch that did over $2 million and raised over $59,000 on day one within the first 24 hours. In this training, I'm going to walk you through exactly how we achieve these results. But first, who is this training for? This training is for you if you want to launch an e-commerce brand, you have an e-commerce brand, you are dropshipping or want to start a dropshipping business, you're selling products on Amazon or want to start an Amazon business, you have a day job but you want to start an online business. It doesn't matter whether you're a total beginner who wants to launch an e-commerce brand or an experienced e-commerce marketer. The LaunchBoom model works. And I guarantee you've never seen a system like this before to launch and scale an e-commerce brand. So if you're serious about launching a physical product and building an e-commerce brand or scaling your existing e-commerce brand, then watch this entire training. Like I mentioned earlier, I guarantee you've never seen a system like this before. We've generated over $60 million in the last few years with this system, and I'm going to walk you through step by step our exact blueprint. I'm not selling anything and there's nothing to buy. At the end of this training, if you feel you've gotten enough value and you feel like you might be a fit to work with myself and LaunchBoom, then I'm going to provide you with a link to schedule a strategy call to see if we could help you launch and scale your own e-commerce brand. But first, I have a question. What is the single most important asset for your e-commerce business? Hint, the money is in it's your list and or database. If you mention your list, you're correct. The problem? How do you ensure you're building a highly qualified email list before you launch your product or brand? How do you measure the likelihood your subscribers will buy when you launch? Solution? Pre-order e-commerce product launches. It solves all the problems. A strategy used by the brands who execute the biggest product launches. Let me show you some examples. Apple. The iPhone pre-orders exceed 4 million units in the first 24 hours. Apple Inc. may have had nearly 1 million Apple Watches pre-orders in the US in a single day. Amazon says over 1 million people have pre-ordered Echo Auto. Tesla Model 3 reservations for over 180,000 units. 276,000 units pre-sold in the first 3 days, equivalent to $11.5 billion. Lego Super Mario set pre-orders sold almost instantly when they were made available. Nike World Cup jersey sells out after a record 3 million people try to pre-order it from Nike. Imagine having 3 million pre-orders. Maybe that's too far-fetched for you to even imagine. So imagine just 1% having 30,000 pre-orders. Or even just 0.1%. Imagine having 3,000 pre-orders. What would that mean for you and your business? The challenge? Pre-order product launches can be a bit tricky to get right. In this training, we're going to cover 12 real-life examples of LaunchBoom's recent product launches that generated over $13.1 million in revenue and how you could use the same test, launch, scale framework for your product launch. The 5 biggest product launch mistakes the the biggest mistakes I see people make when launching their products, and things you absolutely must avoid doing. A new case study about our reservation funnel, a brand new product launch never before revealed that we just launched that generated over $225,000 in the first 24 hours, and how you could use the same reservation funnel that makes leads 30 times more likely to purchase. Plus, how to get started and what your first steps should be. Now, the reason why the biggest brands and ourselves included execute pre-order product launches has to do with the product adoption curve. Let me walk you through that. Before you could go after the majority, the masses, you need to go after innovators and early adopters first. Innovators and early adopters are trendsetters. They're highly respected as opinion leaders. They're willing to take more risk with the products they buy. They're responsible for introducing new products to the larger population by sharing their experiences. Their endorsement of a product bridges the gap between trendsetters and the majority, the mass market. Early majority and late majority, they need validation from innovators and early adopters before they buy a new product. So the vast majority of people, when they try to execute or build an e-commerce brand or launch an e-commerce product, they go straight for the majority, the mass market. But the mass market isn't ready for them. What you need to do is you need to go after the innovators and early adopters. Here, let me give you an example. I buy a new iPhone maybe every 2 or 3 years, but I am not an innovator or early adopter. I'm probably more of an early majority. I will wait a few months after the people who waited in line for 12 hours or need to buy the phone as soon as Apple drops it. They buy it, I see some reviews, I see how the camera works, and then I'll go and buy it online. So innovators and early adopters is who you want to go after when you're first launching a product and a brand. You do not want to go after the mass market because they're not ready to buy your product. And that's the reason why if you've tried to launch an e-commerce product before, it's failed. Because you went after the majority before when you should have went after the innovators and early adopters. Now, the way we go after innovators and early adopters with our pre-order product launch is through crowdfunding. Here's how crowdfunding works. Campaigns are created on either Indiegogo or Kickstarter. Campaigns must have a duration that you are accepting funds. Campaigns must have an external goal of funds they want to raise during a live campaign. If you hit that goal, you become funded. Campaigns make their new products available for pre-order. When someone pre-orders the product during the campaign, they've technically pledged for that reward and have become a backer. So now that I got that out of the way, I'm sure you're asking, hey Joe, but where's the proof? So let me prove to you we know what we're talking about. LaunchBoom. We're a team of 45 plus experts worldwide, worked with thousands of entrepreneurs from 40 plus countries, raised over 60 million in revenue from product launches alone, Kickstarter certified expert, a Indiegogo certified expert, a Facebook preferred marketing partner, and a Shopify partner. We've launched an Amazon #1 bestseller, crowdfunded. Here's a quote from Mark Riegel, Director of Hardware and Technology at Indiegogo. The sheer amount of million-dollar campaigns that LaunchBoom has been a part of is staggering. We've been in pre-order product launches in market after market. Here are some of the numbers. Over 38 different markets. From fitness and accessory launches, charger power bank launches, eco-friendly alternative, lawn equipment, sunglasses, outdoor apparel, backpacks, bags and wallets, hand tools, pain relief accessories, kitchenware, and a lot more. We've had over 3 million plus pre-order customers, raised over $60 million in revenue. Here's some examples of some of our launches. Here's over 1,100 backers that raised over $667,000. Here's another launch that did over 12,000 customers that raised over $900,000. Here's another launch with over 13,000 customers that raised over $1.6 million. Here's another launch that had over 8,000 customers pre-order the product that raised over $986,000. Here's some case studies. Alan Fung, he's the general manager of a company called Vava, and they came to us with their new product called the Vava 4K projector. They didn't want to manufacture the product first, which is smart. So they wanted to do a crowdfunding, a pre-order product launch. So they wanted to execute a LaunchBoom product launch. The price was $2,499, which was 30% off retail. So we took the product through the LaunchBoom product launch system. We created a reservation funnel. We had Facebook and Instagram ads that went to a landing page and then to a reservation funnel. Then during the live campaign, we had an email marketing campaign that went straight to the live campaign page, and we had Facebook and Instagram advertising as well. The results, we had what's called a LaunchBoom effect, and we raised over $59,000 on day one. Total, we raised over $98,000 in the first 48 hours, and the total revenue was $2.1 million. Here's another example. Greg, he's the founder of Air Selfie. He came to us with his new product that he wanted to do a product launch called AirPix. He wanted to do a pre-order product launch using the LaunchBoom product launch system. The price of the product was $65, which was $34 off retail. Again, we took the AirPix through the same LaunchBoom product launch system, through our reservation funnel, Facebook and Instagram advertising, through our landing pages, and then through our reservation funnel. We then had a live campaign, email marketing, and a Facebook and Instagram advertising that all went to the live campaign page. We had another LaunchBoom effect that raised over $68,000 in the first day. The total results were over $114,000 raised in the first 48 hours, and total revenue was $1.6 million for this product. Now you might be asking, Joe, that's great, but those are bigger companies. What about regular people like you and me? So here's some examples of some regular people and some case studies. So here's one of our clients, Bubba. He's the co-founder of Giver, an outdoor apparel and gear company. He started Giver while working as a baggage handler at the Jackson Hole Airport. So it's possible to launch an e-commerce brand while still having a day job. The first campaign that he launched with the LaunchBoom system was the Four Season Giver gloves. He executed a launch that generated $270,000. Then he came to us with the Giver's Frontier mittens, and that product executed a $1.3 million product launch. This used the exact same framework that I showed you earlier. The reservation funnel, then we had the LaunchBoom effect. It was the exact same process over and over again. Total numbers, $1.3 million raised, over 8,400 customers, and this campaign was over 3,000% funded. Here's another example. Kevin, he's the founder of Aqua Design Innovations. He launched his first pre-launch crowdfunding campaign with LaunchBoom. He did a respectable $79,000 during his first product launch. Then he did several more over the years. In total, he raised over $1.5 million from LaunchBoom product launches and built a successful $2 million a year e-commerce business on the back of those product launches. The next case study, we have our client Steve. He's the founder of the Neck Hammock. He's a doctor of physical therapy, and he specializes in mobility, strength, and post-injury physical therapy. He came to us with a product he invented called the Neck Hammock that he used for his patients in his local practice. We took the Neck Hammock and executed the exact same LaunchBoom product launch system that I've been showing you, and the results were $1.6 million in revenue from the product launch alone. Steve then went into e-commerce and sold thousands of units in multiple countries worldwide. The total numbers was $1.6 million raised with a pre-order crowdfunding product launch using LaunchBoom system. And then he went over to e-commerce and sold 130,000 units in 100 different countries and has generated close to $10 million in revenue. Remember when I explained about the product adoption curve, how you need to go after innovators and early adopters first, and then you go to the majority? Well, that's exactly what Steve did. He raised $1.6 million in a pre-order product launch, going after innovators and early adopters, proving the market, showing social proof, to the majority and then sold 130,000 units while he was scaling his e-commerce store. And that's how you scale an e-commerce brand. So what's the common ground with all these case studies that I just shared with you? A proven system for launching e-commerce products designed to test, launch, and scale. Now I'm going to go over the 5 biggest product launch mistakes you must absolutely avoid. Mistake number 1, the wrong model. The dropshipping model has low margins and high probability of returns and chargebacks due to long shipping times and poor quality control with products. The dropshipping model is high risk with low reward. The Amazon FBA model is high risk for startups because you have to invest over $10,000 upfront in inventory for a product you don't know will sell. The Amazon FBA model is also high risk with low reward. Both these models involved products that have no unique selling proposition, which will ultimately ruin your brand and future growth. The Launchboom model is based on creating a custom, unique product specifically made for your target audience. However, by first validating the product with your audience before manufacturing it. After the product is validated, we launch a pre-order crowdfunding campaign to raise capital for manufacturing while profiting. Then use the profits raised from the pre-order campaign to fund your product's first production run. The Launchboom model is low risk, high rewards with high margins. Here's a breakdown of the Launchboom model. Validation. Take your idea from a simple drawing to a photorealistic rendering within 48 hours. Then test your product positionings and audience targeting in the market before you launch your pre-order campaign. Pre-campaign. Build a community of people that want to buy your product before you launch. Launch. Launch your pre-order campaign via a crowdfunding platform like Indiegogo or Kickstarter. Hit your crowdfunding goal quickly within the first 24 hours of the campaign. Revenue raised. Take the profits raised to fund your first manufacturing and production run of your custom, unique product. Scale. Once you have manufactured your product and have inventory, it's time to transition to drive sales to your e-commerce website, Shopify, and or your Amazon FBA business. Here's an example of one of our clients, Nathan. He wanted to launch a new coffee table, and this was his initial sketch. I'm not joking. This was his initial sketch to his product launch. Realistic rendering developed. Here's an example. Here's another example. And then he launched a Launchboom reservation funnel to test the market. Once he got validation, he developed one prototype. And then he went on and executed a Launchboom pre-order crowdfunding product launch and raised almost $200,000 without any inventory. With the Launchboom model, you don't have to worry about competing with other marketers because you are not dropshipping. You're selling a unique product. You also don't have to worry about shipping times because you are launching a pre-order product launch. So you don't need to have inventory. Everyone who purchases understands that they're only receiving the product in a few months after it's developed. And for their wait, they're getting a discount. So it takes out all the negative that you have with a dropshipping business. And what you're able to do is now scale and launch an e-commerce brand with a unique custom product that only you could sell. Mistake number 2, the wrong process. When executing a product launch, you need to follow a blueprint and a framework. Just like if you wanted to build a house, you would first follow a blueprint. Then you would build a frame, and then you would build the house. If you didn't follow a blueprint, you would build something like this, a balcony that leads to nowhere. So if you don't follow a blueprint when executing a physical product launch, you're going to have an unsuccessful launch, just like this is an unsuccessful build. Here at Launchroom, we follow the test, launch, scale framework, but we don't look at it this way. We like to visualize it in a circle because the framework feeds on itself. The Launchroom test, launch, scale framework works like this. Part 1, you test. The core strategy, validate product demand, test product positioning, test audience targeting. Part 2, launch. The core strategy is pre-sell your product to the market. You build a community who want to buy before you launch. You fund your goal within 24 hours of the campaign, rise to the top of the crowdfunding platform rankings and get free traffic, continue momentum with qualified traffic from ads, email, and PR, and then you continue to pre-sell and upsell products to your backers once the campaign is over. Part 3, scale. The core strategy, build off your previous crowdfunding success to drive sales to your e-commerce website. Because you've learned so much about marketing your product during part 1 and 2, you'll be able to scale your marketing efforts quickly and increase average order value. So just like our client Steve, who had the neck hammock, he tested the product, then he launched a product with the Launchroom product launch system, raised $1.6 million, and then he scaled it in e-commerce and then generated close to $10 million in sales. So here's some examples from one of our clients, Spring. So here's some Facebook and Instagram ads that we're testing with our reservation funnel. Once we know what's working, we then launch it on Kickstarter and or Indiegogo. We did over $1 million in this particular campaign. And now we scale the product on their e-commerce store. The test launch scale framework is meant to feed on itself and grow your business. Once you get to the scale phase, you can begin to work on the next product that you want to test in the market. You'll now have a large group of happy customers that will support your next campaign. That's why we keep launching more products for our clients at Launchboom. Using this framework, you'll be able to not only have a successful product launch, but build a successful brand. Each campaign will not only grow larger than the last, but becoming more profitable as you dial in your target audience with your traffic sources. And that leads me to mistake number 3, the wrong traffic source. It's all about the traffic sources in the right order. While there are typically hundreds of sources that can lead to sales, there are 4 distinct categories we focus on. Here at Launchroom, we call them the 4 horsemen of traffic. The 4 horsemen of traffic. 1, pre-launch email list. 2, social advertising, Facebook and Instagram ads. 3, PR and media placement. And 4, the crowdfunding platform, Indiegogo and Kickstarter. Number 1, the pre-launch email list. You build your pre-launch email list before your campaign launches. List of people that are interested in purchasing your product once you launch. Build a pre-launch email list through Facebook and Instagram advertising. Around 90% of the sales from the pre-launch email list will come within the first 48 hours. The goal of the pre-launch email list is to drive sales immediately to your campaign once you launch. The traffic from this horseman alone will be enough to get your campaign funded. Number 2, Facebook and Instagram advertising. Facebook's targeting outperforms other ad platforms such as Google and Twitter for attracting innovators and early adopters. Focus 100% of ad budgets on Facebook and Instagram during pre-launch and launch. The Facebook advertising horseman will be with you for the remainder of the campaign after the pre-launch email list has ridden off. Facebook ads allow you to keep sustained traffic throughout the campaign. You can continue to scale up your campaign. Number 3, PR and media placement. Landing a solid PR provides your campaign with 2 things. 1, credibility. Everyone loves to see the logo clouds and quotes from top media. 2, sales. Top tier media placements can put millions of eyeballs on your product, which can drive tons of sales. PR and media placement become easier with each successful story you get. Here's some examples of one of our clients, Aura, that got a lot of media placements. Here's another example of one of our clients, Backblade 2.0, that got picked up by Business Insider in the last week of the campaign and raised nearly $200,000 in 4 days alone. The original video that went viral received 30 million views. Yes, million, with 50,000 likes and over 179,000 shares and over 131,000 comments. Number 4, the crowdfunding platform. So Kickstarter and Indiegogo have millions of visitors viewing their website every day. Tap into that traffic of innovators and early adopters and you'll raise a lot more money. Drive sales through your pre-launch email list, Facebook advertising, and PR, and sales will come in from Kickstarter's or Indiegogo's communities. We see an average of 30% of sales come directly from Kickstarter or Indiegogo. That's a lot of sales with a 0 cost per acquisition. This horseman never rides alone. If the other 3 horsemen don't show up to the campaign, this traffic horseman won't appear either. So here's a diagram to show how the whole process works. So first you take Facebook and Instagram advertising to your reservation funnel to build a database, to build an email list. And then once you're ready to go live, you launch. And you send emails to your community, people that you know are going to buy. We then have what's called a launch boom effect where we get funded within the first 24 hours. We then receive organic traffic from Kickstarter and or Indiegogo and potentially PR placements. Back to our campaign, we also start live Facebook and Instagram advertising. Once the campaign is over, we move into what's called Indiegogo in demand to continue taking pre-orders while the momentum is still high, while you're fulfilling to your early backers. We also advertise on Facebook and Instagram directly to the Indiegogo in demand page. Mistake number 4, the wrong product positioning. Did you know that 63.5% of all crowdfunding campaigns fail? The number one reason why campaigns fail is poor product positioning. Great product positioning is the foundation on which the rest of your crowdfunding campaign is built. Start with weak product positioning and your whole campaign will topple over before you finish. What is great product positioning? Great product positioning is effectively communicating the value of your product to your target audience. 1. Your target audience. Finding the people online that experience the problem your product solves. 2. Communicating the value. Explaining how your product solves their problem. I'm going to walk you through how to develop your initial hypotheses for your product positioning. Here at LaunchBoom, we use what's called the consumer-based brand equity pyramid. This framework makes it simple to get your ideas onto paper and form them into cohesive marketing messages that you can test. The principle of the consumer-based brand equity pyramid is the assumption that you do not own your brand, your customers do. It is something that lives in their mind. For that reason, we approach messaging as if we are a consumer. The reason why it's easier to launch a product that you're passionate about because you can also be the consumer. Reading it from the bottom to the top tells the story of a consumer's relationship within a brand. Each tier builds upon the one below it. Consumers may develop thoughts and feelings for every box in a single second. Let's do an exercise. When I say Starbucks, what do you think of? For salience, you might think of it sells coffee. Performance, it's affordable, locations everywhere, fast, same coffee every time. Cozy coffee shop, coffee with cream. Judgments, friendly staff, coffee that tastes decent, feelings, warmth, caffeine buzz, trustworthy, dependable, loyal, resonance. We'll choose Starbucks and go with friends and family because I trust the company and get a consistent experience. Now, you might have not thought of this exactly the same, but you get the idea. It's very close. Now, Starbucks has spent millions of dollars in branding and marketing for us to feel this way. What we need to do when we're launching a product is come up with hypotheses for every single one of these boxes. So let me go through some examples right now. So for salience, you have to ask the question, what product category are you in? Here's an example of one of our clients, Bubba, who runs Giver Frontier Mittens. Now the headline for this particular campaign was Best Damn Mittens Ever. Mittens is playing to the salience. We could have gone with quad layer, super warm hand insulator. This is all true, but we didn't choose that. Why? Because no one knows what that means. They can probably pull some associations from that sentence and may think it sounds cool. But if they aren't 100% sure what you are, then we fail. Again, keep it simple and you will win every time. For the second box, performance, the question you have to ask are, what are the core features of your product? Here's an example from one of our clients, Tayson, who launched the LoftTech Adventure Jacket. What you need to do is showcase primary features and highlighted features. Illustrates point of parity and points of difference. LoftTech is over-engineered, is actually a feature. It's a point of difference. The main goal, identify how you are better than your competition, have 3 main points of difference. The next is imagery. The question you have to ask yourself is, what brands would you associate with your product? In this example, from one of our clients, Matt, who launched the William Painter Empire sunglasses. We wanted to associate their brand with one that was high-tech, adventurous, and innovative. We chose NASA. The top-performing headline, these NASA-inspired sunglasses are made of aerospace-grade titanium. Again, this wasn't our first headline. We tested the market. So for each one of these buckets, you need to write down 3 to 5 hypotheses and then test the market. Next, judgments. The question you have to ask are, what concerns or doubts may people have about your product? Our client Steve launched a neck hammock. We claimed it could give neck pain relief in 10 minutes or less. Questions the audience might have are, is there scientific evidence of why it works? Are there testimonials from people that have used it? What credibility does the person have that created it? You need to directly address in your messaging any questions or concerns your audience might have. Example, we explained the science of cervical traction and how it works. We explained the founder is a doctor and a licensed physical therapist and used the device on his patients. We included written and video testimonials from the founder's clients. By doing this, you will address any concerns, doubts, or questions of credibility directly with your messaging. The next is feelings. The question you have to ask are, how do you want people to feel when using your product? Our client Greg launched AirPix, an aerial drone that allows you to take photos and video selfies. We wanted to capture the feeling of youthfulness and fun. The word drone does not convey those feelings. Consumers associate drones with tech-focused brands or the military. We dropped the word drone from our messaging and used aerial camera. The top headline, your pocket-sized aerial photographer. This campaign raised over $1.6 million. Again, this wasn't our first headline. We had different hypotheses that we tested. And then the last one is resonance. The question you have to ask is, how is your mission in alignment with your customer's mission? For our client Steve, who launched ED, a membership club for those who want plastic-free alternatives to everyday items, the ED mission is to remove plastic from our world. A massive goal, but one that their audience can get behind. Again, we tested different messaging. Developing great product positioning is a process that takes time. Any initial ideas are pure hypotheses. Everything should be approached with an open mindset. Test different ways to position your product and let the market tell you which is best. Now, this is one of the hardest things to do when you're launching a product, but I guarantee that this is one of the most, if not the most important exercises you must do in order to have a successful product launch and build and scale a successful e-commerce brand. Mistake number 5, the wrong funnel. Here's a question you might be asking. How can we know if a campaign is going to be successful before we launch? The answer, we test it. Here at Launchpad, we get asked all the time, how do I raise $1 million on Indiegogo or Kickstarter? How much do I have to spend on advertising? What will be my return on investment? Whoever is answering these questions without testing your product first is lying to you. To answer those questions accurately, you must have a system to test product positioning and audience targeting. Here at Launchpad, we call that system Test Boom. Here's an overview of how the Test Boom process works. Develop initial hypotheses of how your product should be positioned in the market. I just walked through that with you. Test ads and landing pages that use your hypotheses. Analyze the data from your ads to learn which positioning resonates the best with your target audience. Here's the blueprint on how we do this. This is called the reservation funnel. Building a highly qualified pre-launch email list is the key part in a product launch strategy. The challenge? Measuring how qualified the list is. How likely email subscribers are to buy your product when you launch the crowdfunding campaign. For a couple of years, we wrestled with this question with little luck. We tried to figure out a correlation between pre-launch metrics to the likelihood that a lead would buy when we go live. Cost per lead, email open rate, lead to reach ratio. The short and disappointing answer, we couldn't find any strong correlation. Until one day we discovered a website taking a $1 deposit. If you put a $1 deposit, you'd reserve the product at the best discount when they launch. We knew this simple idea was something big. We took this strategy and tested it in our pre-launch funnel. The results? Game-changing. Since then, we've perfected the model and strategy. The top reasons why the reservation funnel works. Making a purchase on a website, even for $1, is a much better indicator of purchase intent than just giving your email. By tracking those that make a $1 deposit, you can optimize Facebook ads for purchase versus lead. Even though our reservation funnel is quite simple to understand, getting all the pieces to work well together has taken a long time and a lot of testing. So again, here's a blueprint of the reservation funnel that I'm going to walk you through right now. Step 1, Facebook and Instagram ads. User clicks on a Facebook or Instagram ad and is taken to a landing page. Step 2, landing page sign up. We send them to a landing page where the main call to action is to give us their email address so they can be notified when we launch. Step 3, reservation bridge page. After they've given their email, we thank them and also make an offer. They can put down a $1 deposit to become a VIP and reserve the product at the best discount when we launch. There is no checkout on this page, which is why we call it a bridge page. Step 4, reservation checkout. If they click on the button to reserve the product, they are taken to a checkout page for them to complete their $1 reservation. Here's an example. One of our clients, Bubba, who launched a giver mittens, and this was the ad we used. Step 1, Facebook and Instagram ads. Step 2, this was the landing page that we used for them to sign up to be notified when we go live. This was the reservation bridge page, one of them because we split test that we used. You see here we say save 41% when you reserve your giver's mittens today. Receive this offer, simply place a $1 deposit and you'll be locked in for our exclusive discount. Putting down $1 now locks in a 41% discount off our MSRP of $118. That means you'll pay $70 when we launch. It's very important. We let them know, we're transparent. Hey, if you put $1 down, this is the discount you're going to get. This is what you're going to pay when we go live. This is how we know these people are very likely to buy. They've already spent money and they know what they're getting into. If they click the button, we bring them to the checkout page. And then once they check out, we then bring them to a congratulations page. And then the call to action is for them to join our VIP Facebook group where we're able to interact with them even more. The difference between VIPs and non-VIPs. In the reservation funnel, you'll be collecting leads. Your leads will be broken out into two separate segments we call VIPs, those that put a $1 deposit to reserve your product. And non-VIPs, those that do not put a $1 deposit to reserve your product. They only submit an email on the landing page. Now that we've been pioneering our reservation funnel since 2017, we've collected some great data on its effectiveness. Non-VIPs will convert on average at 1 to 3%, and VIPs will convert on average at 30 to 40%. I'm going to show you an example of almost 50% conversion rate of VIPs. Here's some important stats. VIPs are 30 times more likely to purchase when we launch than non-VIPs. That statistic is an average. Here's an example from one of our clients, Pierre, who launched the O Garden Smart. VIPs were 60 times more likely to purchase than non-VIPs. We generated over $129,000 from the pre-launch list alone. Simply put, the reservation funnel allows you to optimize your ads for purchase intent versus lead intent, allocate ad budget more effectively and get a higher return on ad spend, and build a community of people that are 30 times more likely to buy your product when you launch. Now, out of all the examples from all the case studies from all our clients that I showed you, and this was just a fraction of all our clients and all our case studies, from all these different verticals, the one thing that they all have in common was they were all launched with a LaunchBoom reservation funnel. The question is this: what happens when you have the right process, the right traffic sources, the right product positioning, and the right funnel? Well, I'd like to show you a case study that demonstrates what happens when you have all those elements. Here's Alex, one of our clients. He's the founder of Alphard Golf. Alphard Golf is a fast-growing company in the bag and push cart market. He wanted to launch eWheels version 2. You could turn any push cart into a smart caddy. So here's an example of the product. This is a very competitive niche in the golf niche. We did a pre-order crowdfunding product launch using LaunchBoom's reservation funnel. So here's how it works. Facebook and Instagram ads to a landing page, to a reservation funnel, to a checkout page, to a thank you page. We build an email list and a reservation list. We then bring people to a Facebook group, a VIP group, private group to interact with them even more. When we're ready to go live, we send out emails to our list. We know these people are ready to buy. We also have live Facebook and Instagram ads that go to the campaign, and we have a successful product launch every single time because we've tested the product first. So again, here was the exact ad we used for this particular campaign. This was the landing page that we used. This was the one, because we split tested, one of the reservation bridge pages that we had. This was one of the checkout pages. And then this was the thank you page. Again, the one call to action here was, thank you for becoming a VIP. Now join our Facebook group, our VIP Facebook group. And this was the Facebook group. We had, around 750 people at the time of this screenshot. Then what we do is this. Our pre-launch email sequence, we break it up into two segments, VIPs and non-VIPs. And this is pre-launch. And there's two different call to actions that we use. One call to action for each segment. So for the VIPs, the people who put a $1 deposit, we thank them in becoming part of our community and being part of our brand. And then the call to action throughout this sequence is for them to join the Facebook group. Because there are two direct correlations to people buying. One, the people who put a $1 deposit, and two, the people who interact with you in the Facebook group. These people become your ambassadors. They share with their friends and family. They love the fact that they're able to communicate with the founders and co-founders, and they're going to make your product even better. For non-VIPs, the call to action in the pre-launch email sequence is to thank them for being part of the community, and then letting them know about the benefits of becoming a VIP. So again, one call to action each. VIPs, join the Facebook group. Non-VIPs, become a VIP. Once we're ready to go live, we launch emails, our live email campaign. And this is exactly what we do again for the live launch email sequence. We again break it down into two different segments, VIPs and non-VIPs. We send out the email for VIPs 1 hour before non-VIPs. And we have a different segment for each of them. We also do live Facebook and Instagram ads when the campaign is ready to go live. The results of this campaign, we had over 7,600 leads. We had over 870 VIP reservations, people who put a $1 deposit. The VIPs converted at 47%. We raised over $225,000 in the first 24 hours alone, and we generated over 1,100 new customers. We raised in total for this product launch over $667,000. Here again are all the results right here. As you could see on the stats at the top, we raised over $225,000 in the first 24 hours. And at the bottom, you see the total campaign was just over $667,000. A 47% conversion rate for VIPs, which is huge. The secret to all this, great product positioning with a great reservation funnel equals a great product launch. That's it. So here's a recap of what you learned during this training. Take your idea from a simple drawing to a photorealistic rendering within 48 hours. Building your reservation funnel. Validating product demand with TestBoom. Testing product positioning and audience targeting. Products that pass the testing phase have a green light to launch. Building a community of people who want to buy your product before you launch your product. How to hit your crowdfunding goal within the first 24 hours of launching. The test launch scale framework is meant to feed on itself and build your e-commerce business. Once you get to the scale phase, you could then begin to test your new product you want to launch. Using the Launchboom framework, you'll not only be able to launch a successful product, you'll be able to launch and scale a successful e-commerce brand. You might have some questions, like how do you validate your product demand during the test phase? How do you come up with your great product positioning that effectively communicates the value of your product to your target audience? How do you build a community of diehard fans who want to buy before you launch? How do you use Facebook advertising to build a reservation email list that is 30 times more likely to buy? How do you come up with your pre-campaign and live campaign email marketing sequence? How do you decide whether to launch on Kickstarter or Indiegogo? How do you create a high converting campaign video and campaign page? How do you get your leads to convert into paying customers immediately after launching and hit your funding goal within the first 24 hours? And how do you set up all the tech the right way to build your own product launch, customer getting machine? Well, you have two options. Option one, go at it alone. It'll be much slower. You'll make full of mistakes. It'll be more expensive, and it'll probably be painful. That's just how things go when you do something for the first time. Or option two, we can go at it together. It'll be faster, less mistakes, it'll be significantly cheaper, and it'll be fun. Because we've done this before, as you could see, many times, very successfully. We have all the shortcuts. If you're smart and serious about launching an e-commerce product and an e-commerce brand or scaling your existing e-commerce brand, then you choose option two and work with us and get access to training, support, and coaching to create, build, and launch your very own pre-order e-commerce product launch and scale and launch your e-commerce brand. Here's what we're going to cover together. Come up with your pre-campaign messaging together. Come up with your initial lead offer together. Come up with your pre-campaign email marketing sequence together. create your reservation funnel together, create your Facebook advertising strategy to target the right audience. We're going to help you with the reservation funnel. The exact blueprint right here. We're going to create together the reservation funnel. Here's an example. Step 1, the Facebook and Instagram ads. We're going to create together. The landing page. We're going to show you how to create the landing page together. The reservation funnel. Step 4, the reservation checkout page. The thank you page. The Facebook group. We're going to give you access to all our pre-launch email sequences to use them as templates. Now you might be asking, what about actually launching your campaign? We're going to cover together launching your campaign. We're going to help you set up your rewards, perk, and shipping together. You set up your campaign page together. You set up your analytics together and help you launch your campaign together. Now you might be asking, what about actually converting your leads into customers? We're going to cover together converting your leads into customers. Here's what we're going to cover together. Give you our framework for converting leads into paying customers. Give you access to our predictable analytic model spreadsheets. Show you actual campaigns and stats including benchmarks to hit, plus your entire email strategy to convert your subscribers into buyers. You're going to get everything. Video instructions, resources, worksheets, ad templates, library, calculators, landing page templates, campaign templates, email templates, and a lot more. So if this sounds like you and you want to launch an e-commerce business or scale your current e-commerce business to 6 and 7 figures while leveraging pre-order product launches by selling unique custom products while mitigating the risk of time and money every step of the way, then click the button below this video to schedule a call with myself or someone on my team. And we'll go over our whole process to see if we're a good fit together. And if we are, we'll work together. And if we're not, no hard feelings. You'll still have gotten a 45-minute strategy call to map out your next product launch. Like I mentioned, this will be the best 45 minutes you invest in your e-commerce business this year. So click the button below this video right now and schedule a call. Let's talk.